Has changed a lot over time. Quite like going to Canberra and back now. It's delightful. New guests.
Shall we sneak in a team list?
Nah.
Nah? All right.
Yeah, no, you're right. We should. You go.
All righty. South Sea Roller Derby. We have 01 Westy, 030 Bombshell, 08 Ducky, 1054 Spendy, 12 Erin Frad, 13 Grim Reaper, 2 Harmon Miranda, 22 Gryffindorable, 24 Chaos, 264 Scooby Doom, 269 Cinderella, 313 Princess Leia, 14 Firefly Spirit, 77 Calamity Pain, 83 Vicious Citrus, 86 Bonnie Jovi, and 999.
First jam. I'll quickly let you know that M-Dog 999 is lined up to jam for South Seas against 06 shortstop for Canberra. So while we're easy, 1618 Brazen Ivy, 196 Rosetta Bloodstone, 1994 Hurt Cobain, 2063 Fast and Furiosa, who I believe is on the bench, and we are underway.
Alrighty, so Canberra there, quick off, fast on their feet, and they are through lead jam. And we've got M-Dog there at the back there for South Sea, looking for that space to get through. Now,
M-Dog, probably one of the jammers of the tournament for Eggs last year. Really excellent work for South. South Seas are bringing their Div 2 team to play in this tournament, same as they have done in the past. But they are definitely up against some higher level Div 1 teams than they were last year, Canberra and Brisbane in particular.
Yeah, so South Seas.
Absolutely, it's their Div 2 team. So.
But the whole point of Eggstravaganza is to come along and get sanctioned. And that's what we're going to do by playing some sanctioned level here and across the world for women's flat track roller derby.
All right, end of a power jam there for South Seas, for Canberra, sorry. M-Dog spending some time in the penalty box, think about the choices they've made during the power jam, which is nice, but again, you really want to try and maximise your opportunities there and put as many points on the board as you can.
That's it, this pack's still not moving. South Sea, certainly one of the lower ranked teams playing here today, this weekend, which means it is quite a tall order for them. So we're sort of going to keep track of two things. We're going to keep track of who's got the most points on track. But the thing that South Sea are also going to be looking at is a scaled score, so points. So Canberra, we expect Canberra to put on a lot of points. Got Fleabag and Lemmy Adam both on track jamming for their respective teams.
Strong defense, 1 and 2, I should say. Offense active for both teams, but is not helping there. All kind of stuck there on the 1 and 2 apex.
This is much improved from the first jam. South Sea let a lot of points come through. Just changing it up. Second jam, looking good to start their scoring pass.
Kind of unsurprising in many ways that you're at increased risk of both direction of gameplay and stop blocks, which are also a direction of gameplay penalty. My apologies. Position pack as much as possible when you're all risk of.
So, only 4 points on the jam for Canberra there. So, well done by South Sea.
2-2 Pink Mist. They also have 2625 Cheapskates, 267. 616 Ruby Doom, 69 Jacqueline Hyde, 814 Hurdy Gurdy, 89 Anthrax, and 98 Deadly Longlegs. Joining the game on the tracks, Giddles, what's happening?
We've got Pink Mist there jamming for Canberra, held up in that South Sea pack. Bombshell also there looking for a space through. A couple of South Sea players down there on the ground. That's going to open up the space for Canberra to get through, but they're still stuck. So
both teams
just sort of held at a stalemate as Canberra's pivot returns to the track and Pink Mist finds a way through Clayton's lead jam.
Both teams setting really strong defence from the start, and in this jam moved up to the entrance of turns 1 and 2, but that strong defence, contained the jammers until there was just that tiny space that Pink Mist would get through. So it seems to me like both teams are very strong defensively, not sending a lot of offense to help the jammers, but relying on the jammers.
Alrighty, I think the helmet covers come off there from the South Sea jammer there, so maybe they're looking for a a star pass here where they can pass the star on the helmet cover from the jammer to the pit very well for them there.
It's not unusual though, certainly it's something I've seen happen before and certainly something I've done when I'm on the track. If a critical skater is in a position that they
You know
can't...
what? Going to stop you there because they have pulled off the success. Oh, and unfortunately, Canberra's going to call the jam and hold them scoreless, which we sort of expect Canberra to do here. That's going to be their main strategy. Get in, score as many points as you can before the South Sea jammer comes around to start their scoring pass. And if you can, call the jam and hold them to 0 points. So that's sort of the strategy we're going to expect to see. What we are also looking for is if South Sea comes along and gets lead, they're probably going to want to run the clock long so they can...
That's Gerald out jamming for CRDL. Lead jammer as well. I have to say it's a real joy to see Gerald back on skates. A little bit of a difficult year last year for them. Very, very excited to see them back.
Spendy's also through now, so look at it coming, but that's going to keep Canberra to a low score. Just 4 off that jam.
Gerald taking the instructions from Fast and Furiosa on the bench, turning around and seeing the opposing jammer approaching and making a smart decision to call off the jam. So next up we have shortstop taking the line for Canberra,
and M-Dog. Jinx taking away those options for the jammers to get through. Shortstops working very hard. Lost 2 blockers, 1 blocker to go. Blockers coming in late on there. Can they get through? We have a lead jam for M-Dog.
And shortstop already on the front wall with South Seas. M-Dog doing their best to get past Brisbane.
6-1. That's at least 1 pass there.
So quick 4 points on the board there for shortstop. So there, Brisbane are now 2 passes up to South Seas none. South Seas will lead M-Dog clever.
Players they'd passed. So they were counting which players they'd passed. So they ended up getting A there from shortstop. 4 points on the board. It's good to see.
All right, looks like we have Lemmy Adam lining up to jam for Canberra. And Fleabag, I'm pretty sure, for lead jammer. A little quick action up on the turns 1 and 2. Unfortunately, I didn't spot it. But I'm going to take a punt that there was some nice offense and they went on the inside line. That's what jammers like, after all. All right, Lemmy Adam working on the front wall, the front South Seas wall there as best they could. Grabbed their points and called off the jam because they could see the South.
Lining up, we have 2-2 pink mist for Canberra. And I can't see it on their arm, so I'm going to have to wait for them to come around. 0-3-0, which is looking at the wrong sheet. Bombshell. Bombshell there, lining up, giving themselves a bit of a head start here because the Canberra pack are really...
Lovely use of what I know Canberra calls the upstring dangle here, so that being ready to plug holes or run offense as needed for Canberra.
Now, Bombshell's got the helmet cover off, so possibly a star pass on offer, possibly just trying to shake it up. And Bonnie Jovi. Alrighty, so that will give them an opportunity to get some points. Canberra's still going around. 4 points so far. They call the jam and keep South Sea to nothing.
So getting back to what I was saying in the last game about how you treat pivot jammers, Bonnie Jovi, definitely a pivot jammer not to toy with. That is someone who you do not want to take any risks against. So again, they are a pivot jammer who I would be asking by jammer to points and calls, so we didn't have to deal with them.
The jam?
Always. Well, and I mean the other thing is, if the jammer's tired, they should just be allowed to call it off. Like, if once skaters get tired, that's when they start to take risks and increase risk of penalties in particular. So, jammers should always be empowered to make a call if they know that their energy and concentration's not there.
So we got us there. They've got the speed. Spendy's found a spot on the outside. They've got 2 blockers to beat. Can they drop them? Tuff's still stuck there. A couple of spins around. A hit is going to hold them up just a little bit on Tuff there. That's going to recycle them. Smart play.
Strong defense, making it really, really hard. You'll notice that lead jammer is taking a good 20 to 30 seconds to be...
The Canberra jammer had sort of got through, but they saw an opportunity to come in. And they actually came in just as the jammer for Canberra wasn't looking for it, and knocked them out, which forced the recycle and really made the difference there. So well done to Chaos.
Of course, shortstop lining up to jam, and 418, that's T, I believe. I only know their government name, not their derby name, I'm sorry.
So
But
strange.
I know it's
Shortstop's through, lead jam.
shortstop's through, but I'm really excited to see.
Hottie.
Hottie, yes.
418, Hottie.
Hottie jamming or on the track with South Seas.
They're down, but did they get through? Hottie's going to go back and recycle, so they're going to have another go at that.
When in doubt, it's always best to re-enter behind the opposition.
It's better than giving up a power jam when you've got
Absolutely.
30 seconds to the bin.
Absolutely, yes. Skating laps and just scoring points as they go. Hottie has completed their initial pass and are now approaching the score points. Big weekend for Hottie here. Not usually skating with this South Seas team. They do skate for South Seas, but usually a different division. So it's pretty exciting to see them here.
Is this their debut for South Seas?
Div 2, absolutely,
Div 2.
yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
The Banshees, as they call them.
Smart bit of work there from Brisbane, from Canberra, so that they could come into this jam with a full pack.
Full-fledged.
All the blockers. That's what you always want.
We want all the blockers on the track, please. That will make our job much easier. All right, the 5 seconds is called. Speed, give them some options as to where that Canberra pack's going to go. So they can find a way through.
Bit of an interesting decision there from Canberra to wait for M-Dog.
M-Dog's got one more to beat and they'll be through. Can they get there? And
Canberra.
they can.
Listening to some instructions from the bench. I want fried chicken.
I want shawarma.
Exactly, and there was and hence the confusion. Now we're into a new jam though.
New jam, Pink Mist for Canberra and 404 Fleabag for South Sea. Yeah, 404 Fleabag. Alrighty.
Nice strong defense off the starting by both teams again.
Yeah.
Both down a blocker, so we're probably looking at two defensive walls here with no offense available for either jammer.
Both teams have seemed to prefer to run 4 blockers rather than 3 blockers and an offensive blocker. Both of them looking to play some really heavy defense this game, I think.
I feel like their blockers are their jammers are going to have some words to them about that in the second, in half time. Here we go. So Canberra running a little bit of offense, causing enough trouble.
Maybe South Sea will change it up later. You said earlier that they have a good reputation for changing up the strategy.
100%. The story, one of the big stories coming out of Eggs last year was South Sea's ability to adapt, and not just adapt game on game. It was happening within jams. Sometimes you could see them working out what the opponent was doing and then working to counter it. Once again, we've got South Seas here getting a read on Canberra, trying to work out the things that they can do to counteract what it is that Canberra's doing on track. Scoring pass for the Canberra Jammer, I believe.
Yeah, scoring pass. Should be 4 on the board. That should come up soon. Oh, they're starting the scoring pass. Lead Jam, there they are. They're through. That's 4 up for Pink Mist. Lovely done. All right, this Pink Mist comes to the back of the pack again to get another lap. Quick spin and... Yeah, it looks like they're being recycled, so they'll have to give that another go.
So the South Seas Jam this stage.
They've got the helmet cover off.
They've got the cover off. They're looking to
But they're a million miles away from the pivot, so that's not going to be very... They can't pass the... So those of you, if you're new to Derby, the jammer has the star on their helmet. They can only pass the star to the person who is wearing the stripe, called the pivot. And is that the...
Not that I can think of. I know that strategically and this will probably come back eventually because that's how strategy trends go. For a long time, people would rely on the pivot and the pivot only to communicate on the track and also to control where each pack was.
Beautiful footwork there by Geralt. Is it Geralt?
Geralt.
Geralt.
I should ask her.
We should. We should ask. That would be the nice thing to do. Alrighty, as that's it. 0-3-0 for South Sea gets out, and that causes Canberra to call the jam.
Gerald getting a couple of points, but then having a little boot to the ground and deciding that they know they weren't going to get up fast enough to keep going, and the opposition jam was approaching, so you may as well call it off.
Now, the score
Beautiful jamming.
the score is quite, gap here is getting quite enormous here, 75 to 8. However,
Really tough defense here. Look at these teams. They've decided that they want to costing the Jammers a lot of energy game. All of a sudden, these Jammers will start to feel it. They'll be feeling the tiredness
burn.
in their legs. They'll be feeling a bit short of
Start
breath.
to catch up, right?
Exactly.
Drastic. I don't think it's not really representative of how hard South Sea are working here, is it?
Oh, absolutely not. Not at all. And I mean, all that it is South Sea. So if you can hear a loud Canadian, I will tell her to shut. Oh, no,
We'll just ask nicely.
I'm fairly sure that people can hear Glam from home.
As you would just bring in the whole experience of being here at Eggs.
Exactly.
We've got roller derby. We've got someone going around bringing Easter eggs. What more could you want on your Easter Saturday?
I've got a list.
Oh,
I can't talk. So here we go, getting ready for the next jam. Maybe we should talk about our officials crew. Let's see if I can do them by sight again.
You did a great job last game.
All right, so we've got Sparkles, Seath Lord, Bullseye are some of our non-skating officials. We have Candy, Denominator, and Jim Peckable are your outside pack referees. We have J-Ref and Boom Tish look like your jam refs. We have Honey Badger as your head ref for this game. General Payne is your inside pack ref. We have Deathly Bellows as your jam timer. Mercy and Nasty Surprise.
Sassy, you've got lead here.
Oh, sorry.
And
I should be quiet.
They put on a bag of points. They got 4. Is this what we want to see?
Nice work from
Every
Fleabag.
point is worth gold to South Sea because they're worth 4. Every 1 point South Sea gets is worth 4 Canberra roller derby points. Oh, we've got the raffle tickets. Yes. Hang on, come over here, Glenn.
Glam, we can hear you.
This camera's got a microphone on, so you can say... Hang on, let me turn you on. There you go.
We know.
Try again. Go again. Fleabag.
Wow, that took a lot of work from Fleabag to get through, though. That was only their second scoring pass.
Canberra Jam is on.
Have an opportunity for a lie
They're
down.
looking a little... The word I'd use is gassed.
Yeah, I mean, I think like I'm saying,
When
you know,
you're doing all of those laps and you're scoring 82 points in the first legs,
it is.
and that will come back to hurt them in the second half.
I think so, and I guess what I also think about is that that pushing on walls is very, very draining, and that is often, you know, that ongoing and concerted effort is often what can help tire your legs out. You lose your breath when you're skating laps all the time. Working against walls is very tiring for your muscles, and that is the beginning of the list of reasons why Commando doesn't jam. I have more. All right.
Oh. So, math
Speaking of
time,
jamming.
86. If South Sydney scored 2 more points, they will be ahead on the rankings. And that's what we love to see.
All right, so we have Pink Mist wearing the star and lead jammer for Canberra.
Bombshell's also through.
Smart little bit of work there from Bombshell. Took the star off when lead was awarded to Canberra. Completed their initial and put their helmet cover back on. And Stephen is your box manager, and our box timers are Winosaur and Knitting Police.
Well done.
South Sea's 20 points to Canberra's 89. So Canberra making a smart decision off the start here. They actually rolled back over the line, over the jam line, just as the whistle went. Exactly.
That minimises.
Interesting. Well, it's a change from a start I saw them do earlier, where they just stopped at the line. If you're able to time the suck back of your start, some kind of penalty going on out there.
Oh, there's a big hit there. And Spendy's out. You get in there scoring lap. Yep, and they call the jam.
Yes, as much clock time as they can. They've got one blocker in the penalty box, so they try to get a pack advantage.
Blink and you miss it. We've only got 4 minutes left of this half. Alrighty, the pack closes up the distance. Hottie right in there with the shoulders on the Canberra tripod. But shortstop finds a way through, pumping those legs, getting out for lead. Hottie's driven out of bounds there, so won't be able to claim those ones. Gets recycled quite brutally by the Canberra team there. Pushed her all the way out.
Very mean run back, because they felt like they could get away with it. They felt like they could bridge back to try and contain Hottie. It worked for a moment, but not for long, because now Hottie's completed initial and is
scoreless.
Again, looking to burn as much clock time as they can. Canberra a blocker in the penalty bin to start this jam. So I retract what I said about a pack advantage. We have an official timeout here. Honey Badgers over having a chat to the Canberra blocker in the bin. They have been released because of reasons.
I love reasons.
Be my guess, if someone is released from the penalty box, either it's because their penalty has been rescinded completely, or a number has been misheard.
So just going to throw this up here. South Sea, 3 jams where they've been able to score points so far. That's really able to claim lead jams. So the other ones, often points in Canberra's favour, getting out, getting some points, calling the jam, and forcing South Seas to have another go from the start of that whole process. So that's really how they're controlling this game. But as we say, they're really, South Sea are also trying to very hard to capitalise on those opportunities when they do have. And we've also got Lemmy Adam also looking for takes a big shoulder by the South Seas blockers there. And M-Dog is out. We love to see it, coming around for their first scoring pass.
So this is what I was saying about South Sea's ability to adapt. Skills, you just pointed out, they've had a few jams in a row now, or a few jams more recently.
Well, they're starting to work it out.
Exactly. So, and the slowdown in Canberra's scoring is a big pointer to that, and also the fact that they know that Canberra are going to play strong defence like they do. So chances are they know exactly how to counter that kind of game as well. M-Dog in the penalty bin, giving a power jam to Canberra.
And that also loses lead for them. So it means we'll go the full length of this jam. So another 50 seconds left on that jam clock.
M-Dog has been released from the penalty box. Canberra's strong.
Canberra didn't really make much of that power.
Unfortunately, the potential points bleed.
M-Dog there looking for a... and just as that, the Canberra defence reforms that shape. And Canberra complete that lap, so that'll be 4 points on the board for them. But also, M-Dog's through now too, so that's another 4. So, point for point here on the jam.
Their long jams with even scores or no scores are very tiring.
Which, if a jam is even scored on the jam, the long view of that is that the scaled scores, that's a big win for South Sea.
Yes, but your legs don't know that.
No, your legs don't know that, but the math in the background does.
The math does, that's true. Right, strong defence here from both teams. Jammers working on those walls. Canberra realising that they're actually going to have to send some offence occasionally here to try and get their jammer out. So Brazen Ivy working, trying to clear some space for the Canberra jammer.
Alrighty, here we go. Helmet covers off, looking for someone to pass it off to, as Tough Luck comes in to score some points here with lead jam for Tough Luck. And they're through. That'll be 4 points on the board as
Canberra wall.
Still working on that Canberra wall. It is hard work. They've also got the South Sea the South Sea block able to get in and help their jammer in that gap that you sometimes can have.
Indeed, and the star pass off to Bonnie Jovi there didn't help our beautiful, amazing, and fat. I might actually be able to see the scores.
Yes, it is here. So wrapping that off, we have 28 points to South Sea, 117 to Canberra, which puts Canberra in the lead in both ways. Well, folks, It's been a really great first half here in South Sea, Canberra. We're going to take a quick break here, and we'll be back with you shortly to cover the second half.
See you soon, folks.
Back after a quick break for the second half of our last game of Eggstravaganza gets sanctioned of the first day. Last game of the day is South Sea plays Canberra. South Sea 28, Canberra 117.
A little bit of track maintenance here before we get started for the second period. Also the well-loved interminable roller derby raffle, which I've sometimes seen take longer to draw than it takes to play a game.
It is definitely a fine work of art. And if you happen to be blessed with a location where you can leave that track down,
oh yes,
you are very blessed.
I feel like Sydney Roller Derby League is probably the only league, definitely the only league in Australia, and one of the few leagues in the world that has a permanent...
You're using too technical speak for me.
Good point. Outside pack ref lane, so a place where they can skate.
Hang on, I've just got a visitor here. Alrighty.
Other people will do it. I think
you can have some organisational stuff around who's commentating where. But I think we sorted it.
I think so, yes.
Okay. Just rolling in here, as I've said earlier, and I have said throughout the day, score in the back, because these are sanctioned games, which means teams are playing them to maintain or improve their ranking in the Wuftida Oceania rankings. So sort of like the World Club Championships of roller derby.
Exactly.
We're in the Oceania division, and so that's what we're rolling with. So there's two things going on. We have Canberra's looking on track for can achieve a scaled win. So on that scaling for this game, because South Sea Derby is considered a lower ranked team than Canberra, we're expecting South Sea, they need to score one. So for every 1 point South Sea scores, Canberra need to score 4, which is a tall ask for any team. Pick any team, match up, scoring 4 for every 1 is enormous. It means that every time do 4 full laps, which is quite significant. So big tall ask for Canberra. However, it's quite close. And we like...
Who even is the Oceania region? So we have the VRDL All-Stars, the Brisbane Punk Blockers, Adelaide Ads, Perth Eagles, Sun State Swarm, Brisbane Red Kennedys, Sydney Roller Derby League, Pirate City, Richter City, shared an aircraft with both of those. Convict City from Hobart, Canberra Roller Derby League, VRDL B Team Thunder, West Australian Roller Derby Newcastle, Swamp City, Perth Bees, the other Radelaide team, their B Team Radelaide, Sun State Bees, which is of course their Div 2 team, East Vic.
We're playing here today?
Yeah, East Vic Roller Derby, Dunedin, and South Sea Banshees, of course, who are here, and Auckland. So they are the 23 teams, 23 ranked teams in the Oceania region. I hope you were all wondering, because I sure was.
Thank you for that important service announcement. And we are off and playing Derby. 404 Fleabag jamming for South Sea, and that is 333. Lemmy Adam jamming for Canberra. Lemmy Adam gets through. Fleabag's got a couple of... Alrighty, Lemmy Adams, player to player, ding, ding, ding. South Sea, you want to keep those jammers from getting through and scoring points.
Yeah, strong defence from both teams here. South Sea's drawing the Canberra offence into the South Sea's wall and using the offence.
Star pass.
Indeed.
Over to 8-6.
So Bonnie Jovi
now has the star in their hand. So they are the one here.
I didn't see the star pass, but I have a feeling that they might have passed it backwards to Bonnie Jovi. possibly not the best idea. You don't want to pass
Not
to your
always
pivot.
recommended.
Yeah, you don't want to pass to your pivot when they're in traffic. Like you want to try and pass to your pivot so that then they can
They're on the
lead.
other side of the traffic.
Exactly. So you do want to try and pass forward or to the side if they've got air, if they've got space to move in. Now, once again, both teams had a bit of a stalemate here. Surely we know that South Seas are struggling to put points on the board, but they are not struggling to defend Canberra. They are definitely containing the score.
There's a full 2-minute jam. There you go.
A brutal start to the period.
Indeed.
To jam against Pink Mist from Canberra.
They went inside, saw the gap on the outside, and they snuck around. Absolutely beautiful. Lead jam to M-Dog. Meanwhile, Pink Mist there, still held up by the South Sea defence, and 196 from Canberra, bridging there. So it means that Canberra's only got 3 blockers able to hold up M-Dog, while South Sea's got the full complement.
Canberra Bridge, though, is calling their wall up. They want the wall to come up so that the bridge can do exactly what they're doing right now, which is to run offense and get the Canberra jammer out. So if you've got control, if you've got a bridge in and you're at the back of the, and then once you have, all right, finishing that jam out with 129.
South Sydney, we need 1 more point to get ahead on scale. 1 point. Alrighty, Bombshell jamming for South Sea.
Geralt on the line wearing the star for Canberra and out with lead on
Bombshell's
the outside.
got one to beat. Can they get there? The pack is starting to fall apart. The gun's slowed up there, so still 1 to beat on the toe stops, not quite through there.
Geralt working on that South Seas wall at the front there, moving them forward, looking to drive them out. And through they go for 4 more points on the board.
For Bombshell at the legs. And it looks like they got their hands in the air. Yes, they call the jam.
Called the jam off just in time. No points. Just called that off in time. No points for South Sea.
You can hear some people yelling in the venue.
Yeah,
It's good to know that they're having a good time.
some strong talk there. All right, we have M-Dog lining up to jam for South Seas. Short stop. On the
beautiful spin on the inside. The heels. Trying to look for a track jump. Not sure if they're able to complete it. They call the jam. 1 point to South Sea. Every single point is gold. They'll take it.
Very
so
nice.
sweet.
All right, folks, tough luck lining up to jam for Canberra.
And 1054, that will be Spendy.
It's his head indicating the pass is clean. Now the South Seas have lead and control of this jam.
Out and start there. South Sea calling the jam, and that puts them 35 to 137, but it also puts them up by 2 points on the scale score.
So a smart decision there by South Seas. Take the points they've got. Don't risk having any scored against you.
Ducky and Hottie have
To make a plan, but they left it a bit late to make the plan.
bit too late, yeah.
I mean, we saw it in a game earlier where, you know, the jam timer whistled the lineup, knowing that there was 30 seconds. All the teams knew there was 30 seconds, but hardly anyone was on the track when 5 seconds was called.
There could be a bit of a rush to get yourselves all sorted then.
Bit of a rush.
Sometimes mistakes can happen, but thankfully in that case nothing too awry went. We've got a star pass on, and it just looks like that's not worked out for them.
Adam, lead jammer for Canberra. I believe this is their second or third scoring pass as I look. Second scoring pass that they're approaching on here.
Alrighty, still a bit of push and shove up the front there. Lemmy Adam just gliding through, another 4 points on the board.
So South Sea's defence is doing really well at holding the Canberra Jammers until the Jammers start to move them. I've noticed that while they're dealing with pushy jammers, and the whole thing comes
They
apart.
struggle to rotate, hold it together.
Indeed. So Canberra are doing a better job of resetting their wall as it gets broken up. South Sea's not quite as good. So while both teams are proving to be very strong
Just as
defensively,
you say that, Lemmy Adam gets a good hit and gets right through there.
of course.
Pinballs their way through. Alrighty, we're still giving a lot of push and shove up here on turn 4. Cinderella really wants to get out there. All of the blockers getting involved now. Shoulder here, shoulder there.
End of that jam, meaning it has gone for the full 2 minutes.
Alrighty here. We've got Fleabag lining up. Fleabag's done a lot of the jamming for South Seas, as has Pink Mist for Canberra. They've been a key part of both sides' respective jamming cohorts.
Definitely high
Pink Mist
rotation.
thought they got there through, but have to have at least one to be valid pass. More to beat. Can they get there?
So smart work by Fleabag on the front of the Canberra wall here on that line.
Finally, Fleabag is out. Well done to Fleabag. Not many points. In fact,
Nothing.
amazing work by the South Sea Blockers team. Absolutely no points scored against them by Canberra in that jam. Well done.
Entertainment. All right, so we have a girl lining up to jam for Canberra.
Yes, and we have Bombshell for South Sea. Bombshell's really caught in that corner there on the inside line. Find the gap. Bombshell there looking that. But as like just opening pass.
Smart work there again by Girl, finishing the scoring pass, getting past all the opposition skaters' hips and pulling off the jam so that you can maximise points for Canberra and minimise.
Wearing a purple top and a green, what would you call that? Green leotard of sorts?
Absolutely, they are a track mirror.
So what they are doing is they're communicating to the Canberra crew, including the Canberra jammer, where they're saying, hey jammer, keep going. And then they might start lifting their hands up and down trying to touch the hips, because when you're the lead jammer, you touch your hips. That's how you call the jam.
The track mirrors are really helpful in a noisy venue in particular, and if you're a bench manager who is literally mirroring your hand movements and instructions so that the team can still see and hear what's going on.
In the meantime, Spendy's got out for South Sea, got that lead jam, which is nice. Oh, beautiful defence by South Sea. Hero. South Sydney need 4 more points to be ahead on scale.
South Sea's shortstop taking the line for Canberra. Both
And the
teams
pack's setting up quite a far way up on that pivot line. We haven't seen that very much this game.
I'll be honest, I wouldn't want to give either of those jammers too much space. I would be trying to contain them as early as possible.
Well, it's worked for shortstop. They've got through, so they'll take that. But M-Dog is hot on their heel, able to sneak in a collection of 4 points on some fast pack work, movement. That's something that South Sea is really struggling with, is that pack movement, defence.
As Canberra are. I don't think they're, their thinking seems to be reasonable. They're looking to put bodies on jammer first. They're not worried about making a pretty shape. They know that the job really is to just stop the jammer, and they can hold the jammer, but as soon as they let go, for South Seas in particular, they are just struggling.
Is there, holding them up. Are they able to get them out? They are, which is going to create mics there.
So Canberra have lead.
That's the first. Canberra's just getting lead in there. Bombshell got really close there, but wasn't able to close out. But here they're through now. Canberra just opportunity. Is Pink Mist going to call it? Are they going to hear it? They have missed a trick here. Their benches wanted to call it.
Yeah, it kind of doesn't look like Pink Mist can call it at this point. They will be a pass up, but also there. So yeah, that's one scoring pass completed for Canberra. South Sea's still on theirs. So if Canberra can get through here, score some quick points and call it off, they'll be able to.
I really want that. In the meantime, Bombshell's getting recycled again. That's really hurting. And you can see the mirror there for Canberra has changed up the strategy. They're saying skate on. We reckon we can get a bucket of more points here. And that is the end of the jam. Very slow moving pack in that one. So 4 points on the board for South Sea. We love to see it.
12 points, though, on the board for Canberra out of that one.
So South Sea need another 4 points to pull ahead of Canberra. So a bit of a way.
M-Dog lining up to jam, wearing the star for South Seas.
M-Dog has been a great jammer for South Seas this game. As I say that, cast a curse. Geralt gets through. Lead Geralt on straight away.
Harmon Miranda there, rejoining South Seas from the penalty box, as Skittles was saying. Harmon, I believe, is the on-track Woofter calculator for South Seas. On the fly, apparently, can work out what impacts the points they are scoring can have.
They just have to times their score by 4.
True. So,
give or take.
Indeed. So, not a good situation for Canberra at all.
Power jam, 2 to beat. Big hit, take to the knee, but they are down. This is exactly the kind of thing the South Sea needed to swing this game back. We've got 7 points on the board. 7 on the board for the Gem. I might have missed something. That's another 4. This is amazing. Jammer on jammer. Jammers looking to line each other up and have a little bit of that biff.
More points on the board for Geralt. I'm going to take a punt that the reason they didn't get 4 points on one of the passes is that there was a no pass.
This jam, so it's going to go the full distance. Alrighty. All the melee down there, and that is the end of the jam. 52 to South Sea. That is C. They're in the lead.
Nice points, much needed points on the board there for South Seas.
13 is a huge jam for them.
Some great stuff.
If you're Canberra, I'd like to see some fatigue start to line up, but not for Spendy, who
didn't have much choice because they were still on the turn 3 and 4 when the whistle to start the jam.
So arrived a little bit late, but they've made it work because they're up there lead jam again.
Indeed, they've got lead. Also, they don't have a pivot on the track because the pivot was too late.
There also has done a star pass to make you squeal, which we haven't seen from Canberra. That's the first star pass they've needed to go for.
Indeed, and had the desired effect, which was to stop South Seas from scoring too many more points. Team timeout to Canberra.
Timeout to Canberra. They're just starting to bleed points here. So they want to have a timeout, regroup. They can use up to 3 timeouts in that official review. So they've got heaps of that sort of break time. They haven't used any in the first half. It was go, go, go. And blink and you'll miss it. We'll take a little bit of a break here, which Canberra really needs to
I tend not to use timeouts unless I have a really good strategic reason to. And a rest is a strategic reason.
Rest is a good strategic reason.
Absolutely. And I think, though, it's a smart decision here. South Seas were starting to get on top of Canberra a little bit. We could see that it was unsettling them. So you're better off to just bring the team back into the bench, have a little quiet time, 3 big deep breaths, nice cup of tea maybe.
Reset the head.
Reset the head, exactly, and get ready to come back out for the next jam. All right, Bellows calls 5 seconds as we come out of this timeout into the next jam.
Bombshell lining up for South Sea, and Lemmy Adam lining up for Canberra. There's a player down.
Both teams, that strong defense off the start again, all locked down on the entrance to turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, that's that strong defense from both sides. Bombshell's got Lemmy Adam. That's just a whole collection of things that exactly what they want, but Chaos gets a penalty there, probably on destruction, maybe, as that pack started to fall apart there. I actually missed the call from the ref. In the meantime, South Sea putting on more points. That was a fall from Bombshell. I know they're wearing knee pads, but sometimes they just do hurt.
Oh.
You heard it here first, folks. The floor is hard.
Although, having said that, venues like Menai and Sydney Boys and anywhere that is a basketball court, like the stadium, I much prefer to fall. All right, who have we got jamming here? I can't see.
Through the guts and paying for that crap. Fleabag getting in there and blocking on Pink Mist. You do not see the jammer decide to take on the opposing jammer in a block very often, but it was definitely well called for. Well done. Pink Mist finally found that way through now. A bit of a mess over in that far corner. All the skaters on the track crammed into that one space. And Pink Mist is victorious, lead getting another 4 points, and they call the jam. Canberra really looking to get some more points back on the board. Now that South Sea's gotten that solid set of points in, it's going to be quite a challenge for Canberra to get the points back they need. Yes, we've got an official review. So just going to send Mando out to go and check out what the business is going on, get the inside word. Who's called it? So Canberra's the one that has called that timeout. So we'll just see what's going on for them. South Sea got all 3 timeouts and their official review, which they have not used yet. One of the other benefits you can do by calling the jam like this, calling a review, it can give you a quick break, and it can also in time management, it stops the period clock. Mando's come back, giving me a single. We're chatting about a cut track on an opposition. Half here and really held Canberra's scoring up in this second half, which is fantastic work by the South Sea defence, doing a lot of the heavy lifting. And
successful on that official review attempt, looking to have the South Sea jammer sent to the bottom. Canberra loses that official review for the period.
Thank you for the insight, Mando. And with that, we have 267 Geralt there, and you can get around to get any points on the board.
So South Seas are doing some really good work here. I've noticed that outside of power jams, defence, while the wall holds, continues to work for them. It is just that bit of scattering that happens once they've been hit by offence or once offence containing the jammers. We have 007, Tough Luck, jamming for Canberra, Skittles.
And M-Dog for South Sea forces them to just have to go again. Tough Luck driving there with the shoulder, working hard. And M-Dog is in the bin. That will be a power jam for Canberra. So this is Tough Luck's chance to shine, because they do need to get some points on there. A couple players down, they're going to be all right. They get back up again and try and reform the blocking cohort. There is a blocker in the bin for Canberra, so that means their blocking strength are a little bit down, and it means there's a pack advantage in favour of South Sea, which gives them a little bit more power and control over the pack and what it does during that power jam. And Canberra calls the jam, giving them an opportunity to...
Brief power start. You might be able to see on camera, I think you can, yes, that M-Dog in the blue uniform with the blue helmet cover and red star is already standing. That means true for the Canberra blocker, but the information about the jammer is probably the most critical.
Missed in, looking for the spot on the outside, finds the hole, are they through? Whistle's blown and they'll lead jam. And just as we were saying, M-Dog's back on track. So M-Dog did that first jam, took a penalty, and then they're going to have to do it back-to-back jams. That's also can be a great play, drags that effort out on the jammer too.
Absolutely, yes. A little bit soul-destroying, I would say. It's not dire because, they probably have